Hello and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. I'm Tracy, also known as MercyTiara, and I make scrapbooking process videos and more here on my channel. Today I am making a quick layout using the Sweet Summer kit from MercyTiara Kits. You can check out this kit in our shop, which is linked in the information section below. I'm starting with these two photos which are printed up at the size of 3 by 4, and I trimmed them out, leaving a little bit of white border at the bottom to make them look a little bit like a old Polaroid photo. And I really like that look. It gives it a bit more of a casual look, and it gives me a place to put the date and some captioning, although I end up not really doing any captioning on this one. At this point, I'm thinking that this card here might make a really good place for me to put my title. And I'm thinking my title might be Sweet Summer, but it's actually not going to be. I have another photo that I wanted to use for that title, and I really do like how the title looks on that little card. So I just took the whole thing and put it aside, and I'll do it for my next layout. For this one, I'm going to use just the summer, which is the inset part of that title. These beautiful acrylic pieces come in the main kit this month, and I'm really excited to use them for my titling. So I'm going to use the word summer here, and I didn't realize that there was a similar title, I guess this is like a little journaling piece on the 4x4 cut apart, but this is on another 4x4 cut apart in the kit. And I really like how that looks, and I think it's going to hold my title very nicely here. I don't know what my title is going to be, but I'm pretty sure that it will fit in this little card. I'm going to play around with a couple of different ways that you can lay out those photos and the title piece together. And I'm just looking through all of the paper here, looking for what kinds of pattern paper I might want to use on this page. So anything that I have from the kit that stands out to me that I'd like to use with this layout, I'm just pulling aside here and putting in my pile that I'm using. I would like to use this, it says wonderful, and I thought maybe I could say wonderful summer, but it's too big for the title card that I have, and I also don't love the way that both words in that title would be both long, short titles, like long lengthwise, and so that doesn't really appeal to me, so I'll save that one for another time. And these are all the things that I have pulled out. I might use those puffies from Freckled Fawn, and I might even use this butterfly paper because a butterfly did land on me in this day, and I thought about using that, but I don't think it's going to go with the style of what I want, so I'm keeping it in the back of my mind that that tissue paper with the butterflies is there, but I'm probably not going to use it. This layout is not going to end up being a very layered layout. It's going to be mostly embellishments with the photos that you see already there. I am looking for the letter stickers from the Summer Lovin' kit, which was the kit from the month before, because the letters that come with this kit are red, and that's not going to work on this page. So I'm going to pull out these Vicky Bouton letters. I still have plenty of them from the last month's kit, and that will give me a chance to, I'm thinking I might write out Summer in NYC or Summer in the Park is what I think my title might be at this point. So we'll see how that plays out. I really like how the photos look laid out all like that across the page in a very horizontal manner. And so I think that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to use this blue background paper. Really love that blue. And I'm going to do some layered tearing here. So I'm using my ruler just to make sure that I keep it mostly straight, although I did want it to go kind of up and down and up and down. And I don't like how I fixed that tear there. It didn't really fix it. I think it looks a little worse after I did that, but you'll see me just kind of go in and tear a little bit more to make it look a little bit better. There we go. I'm just going to shave off a little bit right there, and now that looks better. And I'm going to layer these 3 pieces, but I don't have to waste all the paper that isn't going to show, so I'm going to build these to make up a 12 by 12 square. I'm going to use my grid mat to do that, so when I lay the craft cardstock that came in the cardstock kit, When I lay that at the 2-inch mark, then I need my top paper there to be at the 14-inch mark in order to make it a 12 by 12 square. I'm using these Post-it notes to mark where I want the paper to be because I really like how this looks. It looks nice and balanced with the different colors and patterns together. So I'm running ATG on the top of the bottom paper and on the bottom of the top paper. And that way it'll be glued in both the top and the bottom of the places where it overlaps with itself. And now I can get rid of those Post-it notes because they were just as a reference there. And that is one way to make sure that you are putting your paper exactly where you had decided for it to go. Just use little Post-it notes as a little landmark. Sometimes I'll put a little arrow on the Post-it note to say exactly where I want it to be. But in this case, I just use the edge of the Post-it note as my landmark. I'm spelling out park with a bouncing baseline, and I'm going to use these black letter stickers that came in the kit to spell out in and the. And this title as it stands right now is not quite cozy enough. It's a little bit too spread out, so I'm going to grab a tool and move those letters down in just a second. I'm just taking my little pick, which I use for poking. It's a Stampin' Up! Tool. I use it for poking holes and for just moving stickers around. And I also didn't want those letters that spell out in and the. I didn't want those to be perfect either. I wanted this layout to have a real casual look, almost like you spread these photos out on your table and we're about to tell a story or maybe do a scrapbook page. And that's what I kind of wanted it to look like. So there we go. Now we'll put summer right there. And I'm just going to use my glue here. This is Art Glitter Designs Clear. Art Glitter Dries Clear Designer Adhesive. I always get the name wrong on this one, but you only need a little tiny bit of this. I'm just putting a couple of dots every here and there on the back because this is very, very strong glue and it will hold it very well. Now, I do have an idea of what I'm going to put above the word summer there. I'm basically going to make that title card into a little scene. And so I will do that at the very, very end, but that's an idea that I had right at this point. And I pulled out one of those Tim Holtz quote chips that came in the kit. It says, "Do what you love." And we certainly love going to New York City and checking out whatever is there to check out at the time. So I'm going to cut out some cut-aparts here, like just fussy cut around some of these items. Because these items with the sunflowers, they pick up on the flowers in the park in one of the photos. And they're not sunflowers in the photo, but they look like sunflowers because they have the orange petals and the brown centers. Maybe they're brown-eyed Susans, or I don't know what they are. I'm not good with knowing flower names, but if you know what they are, please comment. I would love to know because they're one of my favorite flowers. I should probably know what they are. Maybe I could plant some in my yard or something. So I am fussy cutting this little basket of flowers because it's super cute, and I thought that it would make a really nice grounding kind of an accent on this page because of the heaviness of the brown on the basket. This whole page is kind of inspired by this card that I had made the night before. I used the Lawn Fawn pop-up platform die set, which I had bought a long time ago and never used. So I was inspired to use it when I was organizing my dies. And I just took a bunch of other cut-aparts and die cuts and stuff and just decorated that platform to make a cute little card. And I do have a little process video of not making the platform itself, but just decorating it. So that should be on my channel shortly. I'll link it if it's ready when I post this video. I'll also fussy cut this wire basket. I really love this little image. It's so cute with the little sunflowers beside it. So cute. And then I decided to fussy cut this really large sunflower. Now, my thought about this was that I might not actually use it because it seems like it might be just a little bit too bold, but I'm always down for adding some boldness to a page, so I had to at least give it a try. So I am fussy cutting all the way around that with my little cutter bee scissors. And when you fussy cut, it's a good idea to keep your scissors straight and move your paper around the scissors. See how I'm mostly keeping my scissors straight? They're just opening and closing, and I'm just moving the petals around those scissors. That's the best way to have control over what you're fussy cutting. And I actually really like that sunflower there, so I'm going to leave it. I'm glad I gave it a try because my first impression was, I think that this flower is a little big. It's big, especially compared to the two photos on the page, but I quite like how it looks. So I have that little cluster that's developing up in the top left-hand corner, and my thought was that I would have a bit of a diagonal to this design. So it would start up in the top left-hand corner and then end in the bottom-ish, well, maybe the center right-hand side, where the title piece is. And so I just want to spread some embellishments along that diagonal. And that flower basket certainly falls right in the center of that diagonal as well. At this point, I'm noticing some of the clouds that I had left over from the card that I made, the little die cut clouds. Those are part of the Lawn Fawn platform pop-up add-on. And so I am layering those up here, and those are going to be part of my little scene that I mentioned I'm going to do on that title card, and it'll be at the very end. Well, I lied a little bit because I'm putting those two clouds there right now. Those two clouds being there will remind me of my idea, which is to make a little scene with with a sun and some clouds. Now, there is a red flower in that cluster of flowers that holds my title, and I need to put at least two more little places where that red will show up. So I picked out a couple of other embellishments with the red. One is a tag that I'm mostly going to cover up, but it does have that little hit of red. Oh, I really like this little card, and I thought, oh, I wish I could use that, but it's just not going to work. So now the problem with this little piece here, that little red label, is that it's too small compared to everything else on the page. Everything else on the page has quite a bit of weight to it. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that, but I'm leaving it there just to hold the space and to remind me I need something red here. I cut out another one of those large sunflowers and then decided it would be too much competition to have two of the same size sunflowers. And then I saw these 3x4-inch cut aparts and how there is a large-ish sunflower on one of those. So I'm just cutting that out. The problem with it is that some of those petals are on a green background and some of them are on a white background. So it looks a little strange there, but I have a little fix for that, a little hack. I'm just going to grab my Jelly Roll 10 pen, my gel pen in white, and I'm just going to white gel pen right over the green edges of this little cut apart piece. I don't have to do the whole thing because I don't think it's all going to show. And my original idea was to put it along the top of that photo, but that looks a little bit too symmetrical to where the other one is. Whereas if I put it over here on the side, it adds just a little bit more interest and isn't quite so, I guess, predictable. And I'm just turning it. I'm trying to find, I want just enough of that brown center showing, but I didn't want too much of it because I don't have a whole lot of room horizontally here to work with. As you can see, the edge of that title card is right up against the edge of my layout. And I'm going to do some outlining here with a brown ballpoint pen. And it's not my best outlining I've ever done. I've been outlining for so many years, and sometimes even when you do it all the time, you just get it wrong. I went outside of the lines. I wasn't taking my time. I wasn't moving it around so that I could actually see what I was doing. I was outlining some of it blindly, and it's a little bit too shaky for my liking, but it's okay because I do plan to put a little die cut sun and some more clouds up there, so that might cover some of that. Now, this piece, this tag, is more substantial than the little label that I was trying to use in the first place. So we'll use this tag instead, and I'm just strategically layering it behind the photo and the sunflower so that you can't really see much of that little white part that was showing. And then the final touch was adding the sunshine die cut, and that just covered the whole thing up. I mean the whole part of the white. Now I'm starting to think about final touches for this one. So I pulled out those puffy stickers so I don't forget about those. I also pulled out the confetti mix because I don't want to forget to use some of that. And I pulled out this. This is Christmas holiday ribbon from IKEA. They have 1 year at least. I don't know if they always have this every year, but 1 year they had this white roll of paper ribbon that you can either use as it is. I like using it as it is. It's all kind of crumpled up and it has really beautiful texture, but you could also spread it out a little bit and make it thicker. And I love using this on tags because it really holds its shape. It's kind of stiff. Again, I keep going back to this inspiration piece and talking about it. Actually, the reason I'm doing that is I was actually live streaming with some patrons, and they had come in late and hadn't seen it. So I was just showing it off because I was super proud of it. It turned out really great. I'm going to layer these so that they just look nice together and so that I'm strategically covering up the fact that there were letters on that tag. So I wanted the basket to cover the letters, and then I need the whole thing to be far enough over on the page that I'm cutting off all the other letters that were not covered by the basket. So that's how that ends up looking. I'm just going to trim down the ribbon a tiny little bit more, and this is what the layout mostly looks like. I'm pretty much done, so I'm starting to tidy up. I do have some final touches, including adding the sun and the cloud. So now you get to see that platform pop-up die set. And I'm going to cut out of, just from my scraps, I grabbed a yellow piece of paper. I do save my scraps and I sort them by color, which makes it really easy for me to find a quick little bit of yellow in a situation like this, where this particular kit didn't come with a lot of solid yellow. And that's going to be the sun. And then I'm just grabbing a little scrap of white, and look at the tiny little scrap I can grab out of my garbage just to get some little white clouds. And on the card, and the clouds that are already on the piece of journaling is like they're the leftovers from the card. So on the card, I used Wink of Stella to make the card, the clouds and the sun, a little bit sparkly. So since I already have Wink of Stella on the clouds that are already on the layout, I'm going to use Wink of Stella on the other clouds. And while I'm at it, I'll also use Wink of Stella on the sun. It helps the sun be a little bit less bright, although it looks really bright here on the video. As it dries to a more normal yellowy color. That it matches a little bit better with the petals on the flowers, for example. Now, when I place this sun, I do not want to place it right in the center, although I do want to cover up some of my outlining that isn't so nice at the center there. So I just shifted it off to the left of center a little tiny bit. And now I have some clouds over to the right and some clouds over to the left. And I really love the little scene that we have for the park title. When I place this, the way I do it is, if something runs off the side, I like it to run off both sides. And so since something wasn't running off the side, this wasn't wide enough to do that on both sides. So I just wanted to place it so that it was centered and that nothing was running off of either side. I'm grabbing my roller date stamp, and this memory took place on August 11th, 2022. I just wanted the date on the second photo to be protruding from underneath of the other one where they're layered. I just wanted it to look kind of natural, even though you won't really see that because it's going to be covered up with this. I'm pop dotting it first, but this little fussy cut basket of flowers is going to go right over top, and you will see a little bit of the date sticking out underneath. And now we're just into the final details. So I am going to pour my confetti mix into a little bowl. It just helps me see what I have and be able to reach in with my little pickup tool. This is a pickup stick tool. This is by We Are Memory Keepers. We do carry it in our shop if you're interested in grabbing one when you get your kit. And it just helps me to pick up the little bits of confetti that I'm looking for. I'm going to spread this confetti around. At first I put it in 3 different corners, and then I just added a couple of more pieces in a few other places I really like how it looks with little circles every here and there on the page. And so adding some confetti mix in a couple of different places, not necessarily in a big cluster. I do love the look of the confetti mix when it's clustered, but just a little tiny bit every here and there just really adds a lot to a page. It adds this new texture with the shininess and the plasticky kind of coating on it. It's just really nice. So I'm going to use the same glue I was using earlier, which is that Art Glitter Dries Clear Designer Adhesive, and just lifting up each of my little pieces of confetti with the pickup stick and then dropping it back down into the little blob of glue that I'm putting on the page. I always give my layout a little bit of a shake when I'm done just to make sure that I've got all the confetti and I didn't miss any pieces. And here's a last minute addition. I just decided to add a touch of navy to this page. I added a navy plus right there and a little heart right here. And then I need another little bit of navy up here. I started with a plus, but I'm going to replace that with a little heart. There we go. I wish I had a smaller heart, but this one looks okay just right there too. That accentuates that rough diagonal as well. Before I share the photos, just a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. These folks help make this channel happen, so big thanks to all of them. Patrons get early ad-free access to all of my process videos, and they also get real-time unedited versions of my videos, as well as a live stream that is technically monthly, but it ends up being pretty much weekly, and behind-the-scenes videos and prep work and so on and so forth. So thanks to you also for watching all the way to the end. Once again, I'm MercyTiara, and I share my full process, including decision making and what works and what doesn't for me during my process. Be sure to check out the links at the end of this video for my complete works of thousands of scrapbooking process videos. If you're new to scrapbooking, be sure to check out my intro to scrapbooking series called Take the Plunge. I'll link it right here as well. I hope you enjoyed this page. Stay tuned to my channel for more process videos and more. And until next time, take care and have a really great scrappy week.